is for entertainment purposes only. Wild mushrooms and plants can be harmful or fatal if swallowed.
Hello friends, it's late July, been pretty dry, that's fairly typical, but we just got some rain. I'm seeing some more summer mushrooms coming out, so let's go take a look. We're gonna look at some mushrooms around the homestead here and then head out to a secret, possibly enchanted old growth forest located between a shopping mall and a housing complex. And right off the bat, we have an interesting mushroom growing here among the smooth chanterelles under this beech tree. This is a long-stalked gray cup, a Helvella genus mushroom related to elfin saddles and other Helvellas, but it does not have the foldy cap that some of those elfin saddle type mushrooms do. It has just a kind of standard cup fungus cap, smooth on the top, a little bit hairy and rough on the undersurface, and it has this long stem for which it gets its name. Macropus means big foot or big stalk in this case. This is not an edible fungus. It's kind of rare, often overlooked, probably because it's small and gray. But yeah, that's a cool one. The long-stalked gray cup. And over here we have a Grisette, section Vaginatae, Amanita mushroom. These are mushrooms with no ring on the stem, and there's a number of these. You can't really know them to the species. I'm very familiar with this mushroom. I find it in the open areas and in the woods, but I have no idea if there's a name for this one. Similarly, I found this yellow Grisette mushroom in the yard a couple weeks ago. It's a beautiful mushroom, but I don't know what that one is either. It resembles the orange Grisette a bit, or there's a few other possibilities. The mandarin yellow Ringless Amanita is also a yellow Ringless Amanita, and also the poplar loving Ringless Amanita, but it doesn't really look like any of those, so I'm not sure what to call this one either. But these will have a cup-like, sac-like vulva at the base, like most Amanita mushrooms. So let me dig that up and show it to you real quick. Okay, yeah. So it just came out, but you can see the cup-like sac. Let's move on to the next one. And not too far from our Grisette, we have a couple field boletes, formerly Boletus campestris, now Hortiboletus campestris. Horta as a prefix just means garden, same root as horticulture. These are a nice bright orange capped mushroom with an orange to yellowish stem and a yellow pore surface. And these can be found all over eastern North America. And as you may have noticed, these get eaten by another fungus, the bolete eater, Hypomyces, chrysospermus. We have the white stage when it first sets in, and then later it will turn yellow and become very powdery and stain your fingers. So not the best example of the field bolete, but a good example of the Hypomyces. This was actually the subject of my first ever mushroom video, the dancing mushroom. Maybe we can try to cut this one in half. These should stain a little bit blue, as many boletes do, and have some red spots in the base. Maybe a little bit of red spotting. You can see some redness at the base of this. So technically this is an edible mushroom when not completely devoured by another fungus, but I've never tried it. It's not very substantial, but you could. But yeah, that's a cool one, the field bolete. Okay, we got another really big mushroom over here. This is our chicken of the woods, or white-pored chicken of the woods, Platyporus cincinnatus, named after the city of Cincinnati, first described in Andrew Price Morgan's Flora of the Miami Valley book, a seminal work. And of course, Cincinnati is named after the model of Roman civic virtue, Lucius Cincinnatus. Yeah, this is the normal growth habit and a big rosette at the base of the tree. This is an oak tree, a white oak tree, unlike the ones we found at the beginning of the month, which were fruiting out of decomposing wood. This is the more normal growth habit of the white-pored chicken of the woods. Let me see if I can pull this one up without touching this poison ivy. Okay, yeah, it's just gonna fall apart. It's too old. But yeah, peachy on the top. This one's old and faded. It'll be more of a pink or peach color and white underneath. And like a lot of humans' favorite mushrooms, like morels and chanterelles, this one is too toxic for the animals to eat raw for the most part. Deers and squirrels might nibble on it a little bit. They have special enzymes in their stomach to digest mushroom material, but mostly this one gets left alone. So that's good for us. I usually like them when they're much younger, just coming out nice and watery and squishy and fresh. All right, there's another one. Cool. Now let's go on a little bit of a mushroom journey. I've got a place I want to check out. Let's do it.
It's mushroom time, it's mushroom time. Let's go outside, see what we find. It's mushroom time, it's mushroom time. It's time for mushroom journey.
All right, where do we go? It's supposed to be back here somewhere. Aha, this must be it. All right, looks like this was an old family woodlot next to their family farm. Just a little, one little loop here. Cool. Certainly are some pretty big trees. A tulip poplar is about 4 feet wide. Yep, that's a big tree. One thing you'll notice about an old growth forest is just how clear the forest floor is. Not enough light for smaller shrubs and plants to grow, which makes it nice for hiking and looking for mushrooms, that's for sure. Here's the devil's dipstick. A sticky stinkhorn, attracting flies, mimicking the smell of a rotting corpse. That's a cool one. Find a lot of these in the summer. Sometimes they can come up in groups. I'm not gonna pick it up. Definitely don't want to get this gross greenish brown spory mucus on your fingers. It will take several washings and a little bit of time to get the smell out of your nose and off your fingers if you do that. So be careful with these. Do not touch. Oh, here's some little raspberry mushrooms over here. Little parachute mushrooms. Do enjoy seeing those. All right, what else we got? Okay, here's a mushroom. A little past its prime. That appears to be blusher, Amanita rubescens. You can see its large base down here. Not a very good example of that one, and we've gone over it recently. All right, let's move on. So being a family woodlot, this is not a virgin forest. Kind of barely an old growth forest, but definitely some old growth trees here. Mostly beeches and tulip poplars. Here's a big cherry tree. But don't see any hickories and oaks. And that's likely due to the fact that those were cut down for firewood. We got some more information here. Got some reminiscences on the people who used to live here.
I remember gathering hickory nuts in the fall from the shagbark hickory trees.
I remember gathering and eating pawpaws, which were abundant in the woods. And I remember finding and cutting a cedar Christmas tree each Christmas.
Most interesting. Haven't seen any red cedars either. Maybe that explains it. They were all cut down for Christmas trees. Here's some mushrooms on this old ash tree, it looks like. And we've got an old Pluteus or Megacolibia deer type mushroom. That one's gross. That looks like it was pink, so it's probably a deer mushroom. And here, surrounded by this white slime mold, is an oyster lookalike. This is not an edible oyster mushroom. This is the bear Lentinus. How do I know? Well, I can tell because of its fuzzy top, for one thing. The top will be kind of hairy, and when they're fresh, it will be mostly cream with a brownish, reddish central portion of the cap. And it also has widely spaced kind of sawtooth gills and a smaller, more compact, rounder shape than your typical summer oyster mushroom. So yeah, do not eat this one. It's not known to be deadly toxic or anything. It's just too tough to be edible. The bear Lentinus. All right, and anything else? No. Okay, let's look over here. And over here, aha! We have a much better example of our field bolete, Hortiboletus campestris. And you could see just a little bit of slight blue staining with this one. And that nice orange cap, yellow pore surface, yellow stem. This one has not been devoured by Hypomyces. So glad we found this. That is a much better looking example of a field bolete, an edible bolete. All right. And another thing I'm not seeing here is any lichens on the trees or the rocks. A little bit of moss, but yeah, lichens are a sign of a healthy forest. Because lichens have no roots, they get all their moisture and minerals from the air. And if there are toxins or pollutants in the air, they cannot survive. So that's a sign of a healthy forest. If you don't see any lichens, that forest might be suffering from some pollution. Beech limb, we got some dried up, not quite dried up, but not quite fresh orange mycena mushrooms. Usually those are brilliantly bright orange, come out in little clusters on oak or beech or other hardwoods. Not an edible mushroom, but a cool one. All right, and over here on this dead beech limb, we have another oyster lookalike. These really fuzzy lobed mushrooms with a unique gill structure are split gill mushrooms, Schizophyllum commune. A very common mushroom throughout the world, can be found at any time of the year depending on where you are. And this is a technically edible mushroom used as a food source by some traditional cultures in Asia and Mexico and other places. But I'm not gonna try to eat this one. It's really rubbery and chewy and dense. Not the most choice edible mushroom out there. And it's also known to be bad for your lungs to breathe in the spores of this mushroom. If you're health compromised or have lung issues, I would not go around sniffing the split gill mushroom. Often these are smaller. These are nice big examples. And yeah, that's another cool oyster lookalike. But yeah, I don't suggest eating the split gill mushroom. All right, very nice. In the last roughly 500 years, humankind has deforested the planet by about a third. A third of the remaining forest is old growth. But you can't replant an old growth forest. It has to grow itself. Even amazing tree planting initiatives like Mr. Beast 20 Million Trees initiative, which was a great achievement, it's not going to result in old growth forests, and it's going to be hundreds of years before those trees can sequester carbon in a meaningful way. But still a great effort. Do your part to help preserve wildlands. So here is a better, fresher example of the bear Lentinus. You can see these kind of cream color with a little bit of darker coloration in the center of the cap, and those distinctive fuzzy hairs on top, those fibrils. Very nice. So one bolete, one amanita, not a whole lot of cap and stem mushrooms here. Might be suffering from a lack of oak trees. A lot of great mushrooms associate with the oaks, like chanterelles and boletes and amanitas, milk caps, and rusula mushrooms. Could also be just this location close to the city might be somewhat polluted and compromised. Oh well. Oh, okay, so here's a real pale oyster. It's old though. No tiny brown hairs. And those ones are almost edible down there, not quite. Hi, Mr. Slug. How's it going? I bet you're enjoying those oyster mushrooms. I don't know if you could live without them, really. The mushrooms. Slugs and mushrooms go together like peanut butter and jelly. So somewhat enchanting. Not really that magical, but pretty nice for a 10-acre lot in the city. All right. Well, this is my exit point. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm Michael File. I'll see you next time on Mushroom Journeys.